The question keeps coming up. Does Prime hire felons? I did some research here. I got with recruiting. I talked to a recruiter. I got some good information for you guys that, might have a record or something like that, or might have a felony or a misdemeanor. So, we're about to talk about it right now.
Twisted.
Feel free to add me on your application as the driver who referred you. You will click yes and then type in COXDJO.
So it's really dependent on a case-to-case basis. So what you really want to do, the best thing to get the accurate information that you're looking for is to click down in the description and either click that link down there that sends you to the application process to go ahead and fill out your application, where a recruiter will call you and go over the information with you that you filled out, and they will be the ones that make the decision there on whether or not yours is one of the severe ones where they're like, we can't hire you, or if it's one that you just have to wait a set amount of time. We're going to get into those times here in a minute, but also down there in the description, if you don't want to even fill out the application yet, you just want to get some information, you can always call my recruiter, Jenny. She's definitely going to be able to help you. Tell her Twisted sent you, and you start asking her questions, and she's more than willing to help you get the knowledge that you need or find out the steps that you need to take. Now, with that being said, we're going to talk about that time frame. So like for a severe misdemeanor, you're going to have from the time it was concluded, that means probation, jail time, the whole sentence was carried out until you get off of paper. So if you have a misdemeanor, from the date that you get off of paper, you got to wait 5 years. So there's a 5-year wait. And that it depends on how severe this misdemeanor is the amount of time that you have to wait. So some misdemeanors, you might not have to wait as long. Some of them, you will have to wait 5 years. So the next thing is the felonies. That's an even bigger one. So, for the longest time, I was like, Prime doesn't hire felons. And I was all like, wait a minute, they do hire felons, because I got a lot of friends that, they have felonies on their record. And I like to think that Prime gives everyone their second chance to life here. So as I was doing research, I also asked about felonies, because I was like, I got to know. Felonies is pretty much the same as misdemeanors, except for once you're off of probation, parole, probation, parole, jail, prison, whatever the case may be. Soon as you get all the way off of all the charges, all the things that came with it, if you were placed under house arrest, whatever the case may be, once you completed your sentence and now you are free again, you don't have to report to nobody, you don't have to answer to nobody, you got to wait 10 years. So some of you guys that were younger, and y'all, nobody's perfect. We learn from our mistakes is what it is. So say you messed up when you were younger and you got into some trouble, and now it's 10 years later and you've grown up a lot and you haven't been in trouble since. You got to look back at how long was I on probation, because it might be 10 years, but I was on probation for a certain amount of time, so you got to not only wait till you're 10 years past the date that you got the charge, you got to wait till you were off of that probation. So if you had a year on probation, you're going to have to wait another year before you can apply. Now, if it's been 15 years since you were on probation or anything, hey, you're straight to come in here. Now, whenever you're dealing with the criminal background checks and stuff like that, it is best that you tell them every ticket that you ever had, no matter how long ago it was. If you have knowledge on it, let them know about it. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to remember stuff that happened 10, 15 years ago, like a little bitty ticket that you might have got. You might have missed it. But the main thing is, if you come to, say you don't forget it on your first application, when you get there to Prime and you're like, oh man, I got a 5 miles over the speed limit ticket. I just remembered it. You need to let them know, hey, my bad. I'm sorry. I just remembered I also had this ticket. Because if you're not honest with them and you did remember it, then they're going to send you home because you're not honest. Prime is a very honest company and they want honest people working for them. So as soon as you remember that you had that ticket, it's time to speak up and tell them about it. You know, don't get all the way here trying to hide something, because you're just wasting your time. You're wasting our time, you know, the company's time. You're taking up a space that somebody else could have had in that class by lying and being like, hey, they're not going to catch it, because it's a really extensive background check. They are going to catch it. And it happened to me too. So I filled out my application and everything, and I got back to Prime. You know, I got to Prime and I was thinking about it, and I was all like, oh no, if it depends on the background check that comes back, because I just remembered that, like, if they do a really, really extensive background check, then they're gonna find out that whenever I was younger, I had an assault with a deadly weapon charge. I was never taken to court for it. It was dropped before it went to court. But if they do a extensive enough background check, then they're gonna find it. And I didn't even remember about it till I got there, because it happened a long time ago. So like I went into the office and I said, hey, I gotta talk to you. I said, this is what you might see on there. I said, it was dropped because it was deemed mutual combat, you know, between me and another guy, you know. But the thing is, like, I told him about it. So he took notes. He was all like, all right, I'm going to look at it, see what comes up, blah, blah, blah. You know, then I went in there and seen him later that day. And he was all like, hey, it didn't even show up. And I said, yeah, it was a long time ago. It just depends on the kind of background check you do. Because whenever I was hired for the state of Texas, they did a background check and they didn't find it. But every year on your birth date, the state of Texas, if you work for the state of Texas, they run another background check. Well, my first year anniversary of working there, or my first year that I had a birthday there, they tell me, hey, you can't come to work till you get us information on this. And I was all like, at the time, I didn't know that the guy even tried to press charges on me. So I was like, I have nothing to my knowledge of this. So I had to go and try to get any paperwork I could on it, find anything I could. I couldn't find nothing on it. There was nothing. Like, it was like it never happened, but they could see that somebody tried to press charges on me. So I got the paperwork where it said that somebody kind of tried to press charges on me, and it was dropped before it even went anywhere because it was deemed mutual combat. And, you know, it was nothing. So I took that to the state of Texas and had to fill out a little report. And I was like, this is all I can find on it. And they looked at it and they said, you know what? It sounds like I think I was 17 whenever it happened, maybe 16. I think I was 17 when it happened. And they were all like, I don't even know why this would even pop up. This should have been like on a kind of juvenile record. And I was like, I don't know. It popped up, so I'm telling you about it. You know, so that's the Prime one did not find that, but you know, if they did, at least I told them about it, you know. Now, I'm not saying that they would have been like, hey, you're still hired, even though this popped up. I think that they would have looked at it and said, you know what, it wasn't really filed against you. It was kind of, you know, it was there, but it's nothing. You weren't on no probation. You didn't get no ticket. I didn't get nothing on paper for me, because it was just the school fight is pretty much what it was. I mean, yeah, it was a school fight. We'll just say that. And we had words before we fought. And that's why it was mutual combat, because we were both getting into it with each other. But, you know, maybe this information will help you if you're a felon or if you have a misdemeanor. And it was a while back. And you're like, man, I can't do nothing because I had a felony a long time ago. I had one a while back. You know, there is still an option for you coming here. Now, I'm not saying Prime is the only place that hires felons. So if you look into other companies, and you can't wait the 10 years, or the 10 years was not, it hasn't been 10 years yet and you can't wait, then there's other trucking companies that will hire you with a felony or a misdemeanor. I don't know the times, but if you do some research and look around out there, you will find companies that will hire you no matter the time on it. Now, what you want to do with those companies is you want to do your time there, get your experience, and then once you get your experience, or maybe enough time has went by to get that off your record, then start looking at other companies, stuff like that. Your first year, it doesn't really matter what company you go to. It's about getting the experience your first year. So I hope this video helps out. At the end of the day, knowledge is power. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I looked this up because I do get a lot of questions about this. So yeah, keep on texting me questions. There's my phone number. So if you needed to text me questions, comments, concerns, whatever, any information you're looking up or you want to know, text that number. It's a lot easier to get a hold of me if you text, though, because phone calls, I might not answer it because I'm usually busy throughout the day. Sometimes it takes me some time to answer that text, but shoot me a text with any questions, comments, concerns, whatever you need.
Add me as a referral to your application. Click yes, and then type in COXDJO.
Make sure you click the next video right there.